Well, the Yanks have won 4 in a row, but they're still 7 games back in the East and 3.5 games back in the wild card. However, Brian Cashman has not lost hope. Everything that we've read suggests that he is calling everywhere, trying to find reinforcements for this roster. Here is a dramatic recreation of some of his most recent negotiations.
Listen, I got one last question for you. How are you f***ing us?
Typically, great teams don't have to face must-win scenarios in July, but the Yankees find themselves in that position with 4 against Boston, followed by a day off, followed by 3 against Tampa Bay. The Yankees have to win as many of these games as possible. You can't afford to blow any late leads. You have to win every time you have an opportunity. This means the Yankees probably aren't as great a team as we thought they were coming into the season. And the recent additions of Estevan Florial, of Greg Allen, of Ryan Lamar have pretty much accentuated what this team was missing. It's shined a big fat spotlight on the elements that have been added to this roster that have been missing all season. Speed, left-handed bats, youth, and then energy, a certain unquantifiable panache that this team seems to have right now, and they straight up did not have it in the first half. This team has found a new way to win baseball games by playing actual baseball and not just sitting back and waiting for the 3-run home run. And one thing that you're seeing now that you're putting more men on base, that you're giving pitchers trouble, is that you're starting to see more home runs because pitchers are getting out of their rhythm. They're not just having to face one big right-handed slugger after another. They're having to see different looks. They're getting distracted with runners on base, as David Cohn so eloquently mentions every single night. The Yankees have changed the dynamic of their team, and now's the time to take advantage of it. But is this team good enough to win, let's say, 6 out of 7 against Boston and Tampa Bay? We're about to find out. There's an old cliche in baseball that you've got to play it one day at a time. You can't worry about Tampa Bay right now. You can't worry about it being a 4-game set against Boston. You have to approach every single game as a do-or-die Game 7 of the World Series type scenario. I don't care what kind of injuries you're dealing with. I don't care what's going on outside of the ballpark. You've got to put all of that stuff aside and focus on winning each and every single night. Brian Cashman is probably working the phones right now. He's probably trying to find anything and everything he can to make this team better. But teams are hesitant to pull the trigger because as the deadline approaches, you might get better offers. You only have to wait a week. Nobody's in the business of helping the Yankees, so they've got to do it themselves. We've heard all the names mentioned: Joey Gallo, Jose Barrios, Chris Bryant, Ketel Marte, Brian Reynolds, Adam Frazier. We've heard all of these names mentioned, but until one of those guys walks into the clubhouse, it's on this group of next men up to make it happen. And it begins tonight in Boston. I'm anxious to see what can happen. We're going to need the Yankees pitching to step up a little bit. The bullpen has been worn out over the past few games. Some very intense late inning situations, especially last night with the tie game going late into the ball game. Nick Nelson should not be in any games going forward. The man is just not ready for prime time. I would rather see the Yankees pick up some kind of a crafty control pitcher. You can't afford to lose games on walks and wild pitches right now. If you get beat with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and somebody hits a home run, so be it. That's baseball. But you can't walk the ballpark. I'm sorry. Now, in case you missed it, big news out of AAA last night. Luis Gil, combined with 2 other pitchers, Reggie McClain and Steven Ridings, to throw a no-hitter. Luis Gil is now 3-0 for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. He is the Yankees' number 5 overall prospect. He features a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I've done a recent prospect profile on him. You can go watch that if you want. And before the game last night, I was on the 643 DP podcast with Patrick Hennessy over on the Unhinged Yankees channel. and we were talking about potential trades, and I included Luis Gil as a potential prospect that could be dealt in a trade for a big name. But I wanted to retract that. After throwing this no-hitter, he's got to be feeling good. He's got to be feeling fantastic. We know about his stuff. Maybe you just bring him up. We've seen what youth and energy can do for the offense. Maybe it can do the same thing for the pitching staff. We've seen a lot of offensive players have success right away when they get called up because the league has not adjusted to them yet. That occasionally happens with pitchers as well. I say next time around against Tampa Bay, who has not seen Luis Gil, maybe you call him up. Maybe you hope that he can stifle them for 5 or 6 innings and give the offense a chance to scrape together a couple of wins down there on the turf and just kind of throw them out of whack. Nobody in the lineup has faced him at the big league level because he's never pitched at the big league level. So, just an idea, Brian Cashman and company. Give Luis Gil a start next week. Can't hurt. So, for those of you who are interested in following Jason Dominguez as he makes his way to the major leagues, he's off to a really good start in AAA through his first week of games. 7 games, 28 at-bats, 10 hits. He's got 1 double, 1 triple, 1 home run. He's got 5 ribbies. He's got 4 walks. He's struck out 6 times. He's batting .357 with a .438 on-base percentage and a 1.009 OPS. Hey, look, that's a pretty good start. I know it's only been a week, but for an 18-year-old to come out against guys who are older than him and to basically dominate so far is just terrific. It's showing me that this kid is for real. And Brian Hoke said earlier this year on my podcast that we can expect Jason Dominguez to take off like a rocket once he gets into the minor league system. I think that he's going to continue to play well, and I am not ruling it out that the Yankees could see him next year at 19 years old. If it worked for Juan Soto, it could surely work for Jason Dominguez. If he dominates in the minor leagues, you might as well get him up to the bigs, but probably not till next year. All right, guys, I will be back with a post-game reaction, and then I'm thinking about doing another watch party this weekend. Yankees-Red Sox should be fun, so stick around for that. I'll see you next time.